In today's video, we're going to discuss and review the brand new Ultimate Mummy figure from Neca. Welcome back to the Swearwolves. I'm Bret. Before we get into the review today, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please consider doing so. It tells us that there are people out there who enjoy these types of videos and gives us motivation to do more. And while you're at it, go ahead and click that like button as well. All right, enough of that. Let's get to the figure. Today we're talking about this Ultimate Universal Mummy figure from Neca. Now, I love Universal horror films. At least I love the looks of them. These are classic monsters. This movie is from 1932. It stars Boris Karloff, of course, as we can see here, and he plays the mummy, Imhotep, who in the movie gets resurrected accidentally by some archaeologists, and then he's in search of what he thinks is his reincarnated bride, and he's gonna kidnap her. He disguises himself, the mummy, Imhotep, disguises himself as a modern day person named Ardith Bey. Ardith Bey is a cool character, but he doesn't look like this. He doesn't look like the mummy. He's got a fez on. He just looks like, he looks like Boris Karloff, which it would be awesome if they could come out with an Ardith Bey figure. I think that would be great, but this is the figure that everybody wants. When we think of the mummy, we think of this guy right here, wrapped in bandages and just arms crossed, laying in a sarcophagus. This is what we want, and this is what we got. So let's go ahead and take a look at the packaging. On the cover here, we just have the movie poster, which is a great movie poster. I think it's awesome. It says, "It comes to life, Karloff the Uncanny in The Mummy." Just tells you everything you need to know. And if I was around in 1932, I would have been like, oh my God, I need to see the mummy. On the side of the figure right here, or side of the box rather, we have a picture of the figure. It says the mummy. It says Universal Monsters and the Neca right down there. On the back side of the packaging, it says the mummy, and then we got a few different shots of the figure kind of in its different poses. And at the bottom here, it says what this includes. It includes 3 interchangeable heads, 2 pairs of hands, wrappings, chest, and scroll. We'll get to that when we open it up. Other side, we got a different picture of the mummy in a pose, and it just says the mummy and Universal Monsters. And as with all Ultimate figures that come from Neca, the box opens up to reveal the figure itself right there for display purposes, for those that don't open up their figures. I do. And then on the left side, we have the mummy kind of posed right there in a real nice shot. So why don't we go ahead and open it up, see what all this stuff is about, and give it a proper review. All right, I got the figure open. Before we get to the figure itself, let's go ahead and talk about these accessories. Now, there's not a lot of accessories in this, but there's not a lot to the mummy. In fact, it's been a while since I've seen the mummy. We do a podcast, the Swearwolves podcast, in which we review horror movies, and I want to review the mummy, but I don't know what to pair it with. So if you have any thoughts or ideas on what we could pair the 1932 mummy with, go ahead and comment down below. I was thinking something that had like dad in the title, because then you'd have mummy and daddy. Get it? Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about these accessories. We got a couple alternate hands here. Now, these are alternate right hands. This is a hand that's a little bit more open than the other one, and I'll get as close as I can here. Try to show you the detail on it. Let's go ahead and do this. So you can see the detail on the hand, and it's great detail on this hand. The weathering, the lines, the aging, from the fingernails down to the palm of the hand, the ring that he wears on his middle finger, everything is just so great on this. And I'm a sucker for the hand sculpts that Neca does, so kudos to them. The only question is why do we have 2 of the same hand? And why is they're not much different? I mean, yes, one is a little bit more open than the other. One's fingers might be spread out a little bit more. I don't know why we need 2 of the same hand. So if you can explain that to me, I'll be more than happy to listen. Maybe there's a logical reason that I'm just totally not getting. We also have these bandages. Now, these are just like soft rubber goods bandages. They have some detail on there of the weathered and worn bandages that Imhotep wears. I'm assuming you would just drape these over his arms or around his legs, something like that. The next thing we got here is this chest. and you can see that the chest has this gold kind of stamped on painting of stars on the sides here, both sides, or all four sides I should say, as well as these figures right here holding the scrolls, kind of the Egyptian gods right there. And then the top has these hieroglyphics, which are also stamped on there in gold. You can see it when I turn it towards the light there. Inside, because this does open up, this is what it looks like on the inside. Nothing too spectacular with this chest. It is cool, but there's nothing spectacular about it. But inside we do get the scroll that is red, that brings Imhotep back to life. Now, I would read this, but I don't want to bring a mummy back to life, so I'll just post it right here for you all to see. But some great detail just in that scroll. I think this is really cool that they included this whole big thing. It's a pretty thick paper stock also, which is nice. It's not thin, so it's not gonna, wrinkle as bad or maybe get torn as easily as it would if it was something a little bit thinner. But that does look cool. Put that aside, moving on next to the head sculpts. Now, we got 2 alternate heads, so we got 3 heads in total. So I'll start with this first one here. The detail on this head sculpt is awesome. I think it's great. You got the weathered lines, just the worn look of the face. Everything about it is just phenomenal. I just think they did a bang-up job on these head sculpts. And you can see it for yourself right there. So that's one with his eyes open. You can see the eyes are open right there. If I kind of tilt it right there, you can see the eyes are open and the mouth is open. Now the second one that we got, that's an alternate one, has the eyes open, but the mouth is closed. Same basic look for the sculpt, just that the mouth is closed. Now this looks more like Boris Karloff to me. This looks great. Again, just the weathering, the attention to detail on everything from the ear canal, through the eyebrows, through the bandage on the nose, the mouth. The mouth makes it, just the wrinkles around the mouth and the cheeks. So that's the alternate head sculpts. Now we have a third head sculpt, which is on the figure itself. We'll get to that in a second, but first I want to talk about the articulation. Now, this figure has some articulation that I haven't noticed in figures in the past, and that is in the neck. So let's talk about that. We have a ball joint, which tilts the head back and forth, turns it from side to side, and moves it up and down. But it also has a ball joint at the base of the neck, which also moves, as you can see right there. So you can get a really good, he can look straight down. He's not limited with movement. He can look straight up. I think this is a great addition to this. I haven't seen it, at least I don't remember seeing it in any figure that I've opened recently, that it has such articulation in the neck, and I think that's wonderful. Going down to the shoulders here, we have another ball joint here, which moves the shoulders out, goes back and forth, and up and down like that. We also have 2 joints at the elbow, which allows you to get that real nice elbow bend that I liked the addition of that as well. The hands, of course, turn in and out, and then they move back and forth on a hinge. That's right there. We have this chest piece right here that also moves separately from the torso, which is nice because you get that ab kind of crunch look there. And the legs are on a ball joint. They move out to the side and then back, forth like that. And then we have the knee, bends at the knee. Then the ankle, it turns, and the foot can bend up and down and side to side to kind of get its stability. Looks like there's supposed to be a joint right there, or there is a joint right there that's supposed to turn, but it's a little stiff. Sometimes these NECA figures can be a little stiff. I'm not going to force the issue. I don't care that much about that, but just know that there is like a little bit of a joint that's supposed to turn the ankle right there. But if you really want to turn the ankle, just turn the whole calf out. Okay, let's talk about the details. We'll start up top with the head. This head sculpt is the same basic head sculpt as this other one, except for the fact that the eyes are closed. And you can see that right there. The eyes are closed. But the head just looks great. I'm not going to belabor the point because we already talked about the other one. Down to the bandages that are wrapped around the torso and the arms, and then the waist and the legs of the figure. Those all look good as well. Nicely done as far as like the weathering goes, and just the texture. The texture feels good, and it just looks good. He's wrapped up in bandages, so there's not a lot to it, but the hands right there, you can see the sculpt of the hands. We talked about that a little bit when we reviewed the alternate hands, but you can see what they look like here. They're more kind of flat hands instead of open. You could use that to maybe cross his arms in this type pose, which it holds really well, especially with those double elbow joints there. All in all, I think this figure looks really good. I don't know how I'm gonna pose him yet. Now I do know that Neca is coming out with an accessory kit for the mummy, which should be coming out sometime this year, and it's gonna have the whole sarcophagus. Once I get that, of course, he's going into the sarcophagus. But until then, I don't know how I'm gonna pose him. I wanna see maybe what the bandages look like on him, and maybe put the head that has the eyes open. So why don't I go ahead and get him posed, and then we'll come back with our final review. All right, I got the figure posed, how I'm gonna have him displayed while I wait for the accessory pack to come out, because like I said, once I get that, then that's gonna change how I display him. But I really do like this. I put the extra bandages around him, maybe one around his ankle here, so it looks like he's dragging some of the bandages, ripped them off of his head, so they're around his neck right there. Put the alternate hand on so it looks like he's reaching for something. And I also put the head sculpt on that had his eyes open. Pro tip, if you can't get the head on, soak it in a little bit of warm water for a few seconds. It'll soften that rubber right up, and you should be able to pop it on that ball joint. I'm gonna have to go ahead and give this figure 5 out of 5 Pamela Voorhees heads. I love it. I think the Universal monsters are a great addition to the NECA Ultimate line. I think the Frankenstein's monster is great. I think the Mummy is great. As soon as I get the Wolfman, pretty sure I'll think that's great too. And then any other Universal monster figures that they come out with. Hopefully we'll be getting some more soon. But if you have a different opinion, or if you just want to confirm the opinion that I have, or any other thoughts, go ahead and comment down below. And if you haven't yet subscribed and you feel so inclined, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as well as that notification bell. We are the Swearwolves, and we have a weekly show in which we review horror movies. So if you enjoy podcasts, please check us out by searching for the Swearwolves wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or you can check it out here on YouTube, the video version. You can also visit our website at theswearwolves.com. So for the Swearwolves, I'm Bret.